I'm Kate Finnigan, I'm Fashion Features Director at Stella Magazine at the Sunday Telegraph.
So describe your typical day at the Telegraph to me.
There isn't really a typical day. There's probably a typical week in that on Tuesday all our copy has to be in for the issue that's going to press the following Wednesday. So that's kind of the focus of the week. Then I have to fit in I work 4 days a week, so I have to fit in all the things that I know I need to do in order to get the copy ready for every Tuesday. So I might be doing an interview, or I might be editing somebody else's copy, I might be commissioning a feature, I might be trying to come up with an idea for my column. I might be writing my column or putting off writing my column, which is what I usually do, or talking about pictures. There's so many elements that go into making a magazine.
Okay, so Stella Magazine, how would you describe the target audience for Stella Magazine?
Well, the Stella Magazine comes with the Sunday Telegraph, obviously, so the people who buy the Sunday Telegraph are buying Stella as part of it. It's very different to producing a magazine like Elle, which I used to work on, where people are going into the newsagents and seeing this month's Elle on the cover and deciding to choose that. There's not so much of a kind of sell with Stella Magazine, so a lot of the time it's men that are buying the Sunday Telegraph, and maybe women end up reading it or men end up reading it. But what we do have very good research, and we know that our reader is slightly older than lots of women who are targeted by commercial magazines, consumer magazines. So she's in her late 40s or 50s, but that's sort of the average age. We have a lot of younger readers as well.
So how do you decide on what fashion features appear in Stella Magazine?
You think about who the reader actually is, who you've researched as the reader, but that's really important. She's probably British or lives in Britain, and she is somebody who is intelligent and isn't kind of a fashion crazy person who wants to know what Rihanna is wearing every day, or what Rihanna wore last Tuesday, or what Kim Kardashian is wearing. In fact, that might be a huge turn-off for her. But she wants to be informed, she wants to be educated, she wants to know what's worth buying, and she's interested in culture as well. So a lot of the times the features we do in fashion are about shopping, but sometimes they're interviews with designers, and sometimes they're about fashion photography, or sort of the culture that surrounds fashion. Telegraph is actually a digital first company now, so I would say that the slant of our features has changed in order to satisfy the needs of a digital audience. So a lot of the times we think about what is going to work online. Well, in fact, we think about that all the time. What's going to work online, and how will this magazine feature work in a digital forum?
Talking about the digital side, how do you feel that about the transition of magazines to online journalism?
Without a doubt, the number of people buying newspapers and magazines has gone down, and will continue to, because we're all so mobile now, and we need the technology to travel with us. And mobile phones are one of the most important inventions of the last century, and they never leave our hands. So you just have to focus on that as a reality, and perhaps not get completely romantic about the demise of print, because I think people will still want to have the ritual of reading a newspaper. Not as many people, and probably people that your friends would never dream of picking up a newspaper, and that's the reality. So they're going to go at some point.
Talking about you have a fortnightly column titled What's Stylish Now?
Yeah.
So how did it begin, and where do you find your inspiration for it?
You need to be in the right place at the right time, and I was on the magazine. And where do I get my inspiration from? Talking to people, talking to friends, going out to appointments to see what's in the shop, looking around the office, seeing what people are wearing, mostly thinking about what I'm wearing and wondering why I want to wear that now. Looking at what's on the catwalks, what was on the catwalks for this season, and how that's been received by both retail and people who are interested in fashion, what they're choosing to wear. So not everything that goes on the catwalk is worn. The trends filter down, and that's what I end up writing about.
As fashion features director, having an interest in fashion is obviously essential. So how would you describe your personal style?
Oh God, I'd forgotten you put that question in. Quite scruffy is how I always describe myself. I just can't really do the polished thing. I don't know. Everybody always says they're laid back and relaxed. I don't know if it's that either, but I like colour, and I like a sort of a bit of a play on a school uniform. I like high-waisted trousers. It just seems to be the things that I'm now 41, and I've just learned about sort of the different garments in a wardrobe that work for me. So it's kind of less about, oh, my style is librarian chic or French girl at the Ritz. It's just kind of what's practical to wear. So a lot of flat shoes, long skirts, knitwear and shirts.
Can you remember your biggest fashion faux pas?
I've had a lot, I think everybody does, but I don't know, pillar box red hair possibly. Yeah, kind of 90s experiment. I don't know, I was a bit skater girl back then. I actually would dread to see pictures. I'm glad Instagram didn't exist then. There's been a lot of fashion mistakes, I would say.
I wanted to know who's the highest profile member of the fashion industry that you've interviewed?
Yeah, it's definitely Karl Lagerfeld. I don't think there's anyone bigger than him. Maybe him and Anna Wintour tie at the moment, but I didn't interview Anna Wintour. Yeah, he's probably the biggest.
What was that like?
Yeah, quite terrifying. I think he makes it terrifying. On purpose, perhaps. He said he was stuck in traffic, and that's why he was so late. Didn't really believe him though. He certainly creates an atmosphere before an interview. I think I had to wait for about 3 hours in the Chanel headquarters, which was quite nice, except everybody else there seemed quite scared too, so it didn't really do anything to put me at ease. But amazing to be in that building, and then to meet him in his sort of white, silvery studio space. And he looked incredible.
So often you hear the fashion industry described as competitive and cutthroat. Are there aspects of it that you aren't so keen on?
I think that's probably true of all industries, isn't it? Fashion is in the spotlight because people like to hate the fashion industry. You know, my best friends work in the fashion industry, and there's loads of really nice people who work there, really hard-working people in all areas of the industry. So it's not kind of all lipsticks at dawn. There's probably an element of that. I have seen it, but it's you know, it's first and foremost a creative industry that creates a lot of money for this country and globally, and as a result there's a lot of hard-working people and talented people in it who have to get on with each other most of the time. So yes, there's an aspect of competition. Journalism is really, really competitive at the moment, and has got more so since I joined it, probably because there are fewer and fewer jobs. So yeah, you have to be at the top of your game sort of all the time, or try to be.
Okay, so finally, just give me in as little as 3 words, 3 traits, three traits that you would say are essential to become a journalist.
I can think of 2. Curiosity. You have to be really nosy. Okay, let's do 3 C's. Curiosity, confidence and communication. They're the 3 things that you need.